Morning, everyone. I'm Andy,
Yeah, and I'm Mark.
and this is Strange Stuff Podcast.
I'm still having difficulty getting to recognise who the hell I'm talking to, for God's sake.
It won't be for long. It will come off in a week or so. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just playing with myself because I've got fuck all else to do. Actually, I went shooting yesterday with Robin.
What sort of shooting? Duck shooting?
No, a bit of target practice, basically. He was sighting in his guns because moose hunting starts on Monday here.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, of course. Further, earlier up north. So, what, you actually shot a weapon? I don't think you're allowed to do that, so you shouldn't say
Of course
on
you
air.
are.
No,
Of course
you're
you
not.
are. Yeah, you are. Of course you are. Anyone can go to a shooting range and fire a weapon. Anyone.
Don't know whether that's true.
It's absolutely true.
What did you shoot? What gun was it? A rifle?
An AR-10 and an AR-15.
Don't be ridiculous.
I'm telling you the truth. It's not ridiculous. It's an AR-10 and an AR-15.
You can't use them for elk hunting.
Of course you can. They're specially converted.
One is a 7 because the bullets aren't big enough.
One is a .762 for moose, and the other one is a .223 for birds.
All right.
And
hang on, I'm going to have to look what that is because it sounds absolutely ridiculous. An AR-15, you say?
Yes, it's the weapon of choice if you're going to school having a bad day.
Oh. AR-15 forbid. It's the first thing that comes up. Forbidden.
Yeah, they allowed them last year.
Don't be ridiculous. You can't. You idiot.
I'm telling you. It's fucking true. They allowed them last year, so Robin bought those two, and about 3 weeks ago, they revoked that decision, and you now have 2 years to sell them. You'll get your full money back, but you've got 2 years to return them.
All right.
So they're not fully automatic, clearly. They are semi-automatic. You can go bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
But you can't go...
Sorry, I mean, I have to ask, why on earth would you want to buy something like that? What's the motivation behind it?
Hunting, I guess. It's just a fashion thing, really. Instead of a big, clunky, old, bloody wooden steel thing, you've got this really lightweight... It's only 3 kilos. It's easy to tote around.
Seriously, I've never held such a thing. It only weighs 3 kilos.
Yeah. I mean, you can literally just go... Boom. Not like the old...
Well, it's not quite that bad, but they are quite heavy. But what's the recoil like on a 3 kilo gun?
Minimal. They've got ARV gas, so you know most of the pressure is released through the exhausts. There's not much recoil.
Oh,
it was okay. It's not my favourite kind of shooting. I prefer clay pigeon because I don't know. There's more action.
You actually get to destroy something.
Yeah, I mean, we did have a couple of aerosol cans that we blew up, but target shooting is just a bit boring for me.
So there's a shooting range nearby that if you're a member of, you can just go to?
Yes, 200 crowns a year, and you can go fill your boots.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
That was quite good fun.
Yeah, I've never shot anything like that. But what I have shot is I've done clay pigeon shooting a few times.
Yeah, I like clay pigeon. He reminded me yesterday, actually, that you said you might be coming up this way to see a friend of yours.
Yes, that's right. In Lofoten Islands, but in fact, you're nowhere near Lofoten Islands.
So once again, you just ignore us.
Well, I'm not going, so... Oh, dear. Is the winter setting in up there? I'll tell you what, it's bloody worrying that we're still in August, and I think yesterday in Venus it was 3 degrees during the night.
It was warmer than that here. Oh God, get off the bloody keyboard. It was warmer than that here. It's a beautiful sunny day today, but temperature-wise, probably, I don't know. Let's have a look. Oh,
You
Alexa,
can't see.
what's the temperature?
9 degrees.
Right now, it's 10 degrees Celsius.
10 degrees.
Today,
Oh, it's the same as here
it's a
then.
high of 19 degrees.
Alexa, what's the temperature today?
Right now, it's 10 degrees Celsius. Today, expect a high of 19 degrees.
19 degrees we're going to have.
Oh, really? Holy
Yeah.
schmoses.
We're having a bit of an Indian summer.
Exactly. It's like the Riviera, for God's sake.
Anyway, I was reading the paper this morning and one story caught my eye.
Literally.
It's not nice, but it's just very fucking strange to me. A woman called Zoe Ward, age 32, very attractive, gave birth to a baby at Leeds General Infirmary in 2021. But unfortunately, he died of brain damage when he was 3 weeks old. Now, she contacted this organisation called Florrie's Army at the recommendation of a friend and spoke to a woman called Amy Upton to arrange his funeral. And she said that she spoke to Upton and she thought that the service sounded brilliant. And what they did was excellent. It said that Florrie's Army supported bereaved parents and offered free handprints, photographs, as well as baby clothing and a dedicated funeral service. So this organisation was set up by Amy Upton following her own daughter's death when she was stillborn in 2017, according to her Facebook page. So Miss Ward's baby was picked up from the hospital by someone on behalf of Florrie's Army. And she said that she thought her son would be basically taken to a funeral parlour and sorted out in a professional setting. But she found out after a week that the baby was actually at Miss Upton's address, her home address. So she went round there and she was terrified to see Miss Upton watching cartoons with her son's body next to her in the living room in a baby bouncer. On the sofa was the body of another baby. She said there was a cat scratcher in the corner and I could hear a dog barking and there was this other dead baby on the sofa. It wasn't a good sight. I rang me mum and I said, this ain't right. It's mucky, it's dirty, he can't stay here. So Zoe's mum organised for another funeral director to collect the body and it was taken out of Miss Upton's care. Upton, 38, has now been banned from NHS maternity wards and mortuaries in Leeds. Get this, in England and Wales, the funeral industry is unregulated and there are no legal requirements regarding where and how bodies are stored. So she broke no fucking laws.
Are you sure about that?
She was playing fucking Barbie with dead babies in her house and no law has been broken.
Yeah, well, obviously she's mentally unwell, but I can't believe there's no laws against it. I thought there are laws about burying, or maybe the burial, there are laws attached to it.
Yes.
But what leads up to the burial?
Yeah, there's two main trade organisations, the National Association of Funeral Directors and the National Society of Allied and Independent Funeral Directors, and they both follow a joint code of conduct, which states that members must undergo regular inspections of their premises and procedures, whereby bodies should be kept in a clean and clinical environment at a temperature between 4 and 7 degrees Celsius, according to best practice. But membership is voluntary.
Oh.
And if you're not a member, you don't have to follow anyone's code of conduct.
I mean, I actually think there are quite a few funeral directors who sort of work out of private addresses and have a freezer in the garage or a few freezers in.
Yeah, they basically wing it.
Yeah. I mean...
But I mean, imagine walking into someone's house and finding your dead baby watching cartoons in a baby bouncer and another dead baby sitting on the sofa.
Yeah, well, as I say, I mean, I say poor woman, clearly she needs some serious help.
It's straight out of a horror movie.
Yeah.
I would expect her to stand up with a knife in her hand and make me watch cartoons. That would be my first thought, that I'm in danger. Fucking hell.
So what newspaper was that in?
It was actually reported on the BBC, so you can't even dispute it.
No, I'm not.
Because they're your god.
I'm not disputing it.
But I did read it in the current bun.
You still read The Sun, do you? Is that the only online newspaper that's free?
More or less, yeah. Everything else is behind a paywall. Now, even The Sun is behind a paywall for some of that stuff. You have to be a member of the Sun Club.
But you get all the headlines, and then if you want to actually read the story...
You get the main headlines if you want the articles, and more importantly, the problem page, which is the only entertaining part of the fucking thing. You have to be a member of the Sun Club.
I'm sorry, Andy, what?
The problem page, what's weird?
You read the problem page in the Sun newspaper?
Of course I do. Of course. It's
what
the
is
best
that
part.
like, Dear Deirdre or whatever?
Exactly that. Yeah, look, I'll give you an idea of what's in there today. I can't
Are
read
you
it.
a 50-year-old bored housewife or something?
I can't read it because I'm not a member of the Sun Club. But here's the headlines: Dear Deirdre, should I tell my girlfriend that I have a fetish for dressing up as a baby? I mean, that's fucking top news, mate.
That's exactly what I mean. Oh my God. I mean, I've literally, I don't think I've ever, not only have I never read such a thing, but I've had no interest in ever reading such a thing.
What do you mean?
Who is Deirdre? Is literally Deirdre, or is that just generic?
It used to be a Deirdre, but that was 50 years ago. She's long dead.
You're not going to tell me next you read horoscopes or something?
Get this. No, fuck off.
Well, what's the difference?
Hang on, get this one. Dear Deirdre, my girlfriend gets me to role play as Gordon Ramsay in bed.
What's that? With a saucepan in one hand and a
Fuck off!
spatula in the other?
I'm putting a slice of bread on each of your ears. What have I got? A fucking idiot sandwich.
Gordon Ramsay doesn't speak with a North accent.
They do in my world.
Oh my God. Oh, well, at least are there any ever actual real problems?
Don't be ridiculous. There's nothing is real.
And is it all fabricated, or do people actually write in saying my boyfriend wants to dress up as a baby?
I would imagine that some people do actually write in because they see the nonsense that they make up, and it encourages them to think, well, maybe I'm not so strange.
But the thing is, I'm sure a lot of people write in just to get their letters in the newspaper. It's complete bollocks. It's like,
it's not something you're going to show your mates in the pub, is it?
Well,
oh, look, they printed my letter. I like dressing up as a baby and having my nappy changed.
Oh dear. Well, I suppose that's lighter news than what else is going on in the world. But it is an interesting, sorry to change the subject, and we're back to Trump again, but in a light-hearted way because of this ludicrous Peace Prize thing. What's he going to do to Norway when they don't give him the Peace Prize?
Fucking invade. He'll just take it and then award it to himself.
These wars that apparently he's resolved, I didn't even know they were going on.
There is no wars that he's resolved.
Did you know that Thailand apparently were at war with Cambodia?
There's always been skirmishes,
Yeah,
but
well, of course there have been skirmishes for the last
there's still
50
going to be
years.
skirmishes. He hasn't solved
It's
anything.
like India and Pakistan. There have been skirmishes for the last 50 years
Yeah,
or more.
he's just so full of shit. I mean, there were stories as well. It's been rebutted now about Trump and RFK stopping issuing vaccines for COVID.
Oh, right.
Which is a 180-degree fucking U-turn for Trump, who was a big proponent about how it was the greatest and the best vaccine in the
Trump
world.
was the disinfectant man.
He also did go for the bleach injection, but he was a big proponent for the vaccine. But they've done an about turn on that now, and they say that basically they're restricting it to
elderly
over 65s and everyone else who's just needs a little hand to step off this mortal coil.
I mean, the whole thing is sort of getting a bit unbelievable to the extent that people are still tolerating what's going on.
I know.
I mean, it must be so obvious to any Trump supporter who has half a brain. The fact he's trying to sack another of the Federal Reserve Bank board, and he's got rid of the statistics people. He's sacking everybody.
How does he get rid of people on the Federal Reserve Board when the Federal Reserve is a private fucking company?
Well, I don't know if
it's nothing to do with the government. Just because it's called federal.
No. But that's the whole point of it. That is the whole point, that it is independent. So the question is, how can President Trump sack anybody? It's an independent organization. But the thing is that he's got to understand that the capital, which obviously I have some experience of, the capital markets rely on these people for stability and continuity. And
but
if you
he doesn't want stability
people,
and continuity.
No, but the result is, I'll tell you what, if it happened in England, do you remember that, who was that Prime Minister for 40 days? Liz Truss.
Oh,
do you remember?
A genius.
So, Kwasi Kwarteng, I might have, whoever the finance minister was, Chancellor of the Exchequer, they did this budget and it was completely ludicrous. And the capital market, specifically the bond market, reacted within 24 hours. The interest rate skyrocketed. It basically doubled the cost of borrowing for the UK government. And within 40 days, she was out. And so the capital markets, if they choose to get rid of Trump, they're facing a bit of a dilemma, because the bankers obviously want Trump because it's all deregulation, you can get away with murder. But on the other hand, they do rely on an efficient Federal Reserve, is what everybody looks to. So they could react in a day and he's basically out. And then Trump will have to criminalize the Federal Reserve or something. Yeah.
Before he finds whatever reason he's going to use to cancel the midterms.
Oh, well, it's you're the expert. I'm always shite at predicting things. Do you think the midterms are actually going to happen?
He's gonna find a way to stay in power, one way or the other. He is not going to give up the White House.
No,
he has already shown that he's a fucking dictator.
Yeah, and
he intends to be there for the long haul.
I can't even remember whether the midterms aren't until November next year, isn't it?
No idea. For me, all I ever see is midterms, primaries. It's in the paper all the time. I have no idea.
I have a feeling it's November next year.
We'll find out.
But, he's going to run out of National Guard soldiers. He's sending them everywhere. Left,
19 states now, I think.
Oh. Anyway, so that's going on.
That's what's known as a military coup.
Oh. I'm surprised they follow orders, actually.
There
must be a good percentage of these actual people on the ground that think this is madness.
Yeah, but they're on the winning side. as far as they're concerned. So they've got a moral dilemma as well as an ethical dilemma. Do they stand up for what's right and become treasonous, or do they just stick with the winning side and get the good food and get the paycheck at the end of the day?
Maybe. We'll see as it unfolds. But the
I was only
situation's
following
certainly getting
orders,
more
Your Honour.
entertaining.
I was
That's
only
for sure.
following orders. There's going to be a lot of that in the future.
Yeah. But anyway, back to Norway. What do you think the retribution is going to be for Norway when he doesn't get the Peace Prize? I assume maybe they'll give it to him. Who knows?
They can't, because, I mean, it's been devalued enough over the years. How the fuck are they going to give it to him? On what pretense?
I don't know.
And who would accept it next year? I mean, it's fuck off. You're giving me what? The thing that Donald Trump got? Fuck off.
Actually, that's a very good point, Andy. Any true person with a good heart who maybe actually deserves the Peace Prize would never accept it in the future. If
it's
Donald
tarnished.
Trump, it is tarnished. You're right. Oh.
Anyway,
so what else is going on in the world, or what?
We're talking government, and actually, today's topic is a strange tale, which results from a government thing. And what we're going to talk about today is basically the Watergate scandal.
Oh, yes, Nixon.
Because a lot of people, everyone in the world knows of the Watergate scandal, but not that many people know what it actually is.
Well, you'll be testing my memory because I've even watched the film a couple of times. There was that very good film about the Watergate scandal, the two reporters that uncovered it.
All the President's Men.
All the President's Men. Thank you very much. Yes, it was a good movie.
No problem. Yeah, it was a book, actually, initially.
Well, I wouldn't read a book.
But anyway, let's get into it. We're going to talk about one of the players in the Watergate scandal who, to my mind, has the best code name of all time.
And that code name is?
Deep Throat.
And whose side were they on? The government's? The FBI?
Okay, now Deep Throat was the pseudonym given to the secret informant who provided information back in 1972 to Bob Woodward, who shared it with Carl Bernstein.
Oh, that was the reporters, yeah.
Those two... Oh. I have to take this.
I'm calling you. Do you hear me?
Deep Throat.
Yeah. Woodward and Bernstein were the reporters for the Washington Post. And Deep Throat basically provided key details of the involvement of Nixon's administration in what came to be known as the Watergate scandal. So, Deep Throat was first... Deep Throat was also the best soft porn film ever made. That's why it's so funny. In case you don't know, Linda Lovelace back in the 70s made a film called Deep Throat, which was out on general release, I believe. And it was censored and banned immediately, but it became world famous.
Mm-hmm. I have to check it out. Is it on Netflix?
I highly doubt it. And if it is, there's none of the original left. It's probably about 6 minutes long. So Deep Throat was first introduced to the public in February 1974 book, All the President's Men. That was by the reporters Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein. And according to them, Deep Throat was the key source of information behind the articles that introduced the misdeeds of the Nixon administration to the public. And this eventually led to the resignation of Nixon, as well as to prison terms, which is highly unusual, for the White House Chief of Staff, H.R. Haldeman, G. Gordon Liddy. Why do they have three names, for fuck's sake? Eagle Croft, and the White House counsel, Charles Colson, former U.S. Attorney General John N. Mitchell. Just in case you're confused, it's John N. Mitchell. Former White House counsel John Dean and presidential advisor John Ehrlichman. And the film based on the book was released 2 years later, nominated for 8 Academy Awards, 4 of which it won. So
what was the crime
Okay. On June the 17th, 1972, police arrested 5 men inside the offices of the Democratic National Committee in the Watergate complex in Washington, D.C.
Burglars.
Yes, they were burglars. I mean, basically, the Watergate scandal consisted of them burglarizing the offices of the Democratic National Committee and bugging them, basically to get inside information on what they were doing and whatever. In their possession at the time were $2,300 in cash, equivalent to about 18 grand today, plastic gloves to prevent the old fingerprints or possibly some deep cavity searches, burglary tools, a walkie-talkie and a radio scanner to listen to police frequencies, which they clearly weren't using, cameras with 40 rolls of film, and in those days the cameras wouldn't have been that small, tear gas guns, multiple electronic devices which they intended to plant in the offices, and notebooks containing the telephone number of White House official E. Edward Hunt, or E. Howard Hunt, sorry. One of the men was James W. McCord Jr. Stop it! Stop it, America! 2 names is more than enough. Now, McCord was a Central Intelligence Agency employee and a security man for Nixon's Committee for the Re-Election of the President, which was notoriously mocked because it acronymed to CREEP.
Now, I'm going to test you just to put it into context.
Mm-hmm.
So this happened in June 72.
Yes.
When we were talking about election cycles, what was that in the election cycle? Was it just before?
No idea. No,
because it's interesting. It is relevant because why on earth were they interested in bugging the Democrats' central office? I mean, what was there to gain from it, as it were?
Either blackmail material to make someone stand down from office if they heard the right shit. I don't know. You know, there's all sorts. Any secret is good material for these fuckers. Anything.
All right. Okay. Hang on a second. I can tell you actually. Now it is relevant. He served from 69. So in other words, he was coming to the end of his term. 74 actually. Resignation was 74. So yeah, so he was coming to the end of his term. So clearly, it would have been useful.
But I would like to shake the hand of the presidential aide who came up with the Committee for the Re-Election of the President as a name. Creep. Yeah. And actually got it past the president. That's a great name. Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you. Anyway,
so these 5 guys broke in. They were planting. They were extracting information because they had cameras and things, and they were planting bugs.
Yes, that was the crime.
So that was the crime.
Yes. Now, the reporters Bernstein and Woodward pursued the story for 2 years, and it eventually implicated a lot of members of the White House, culminating in Nixon becoming the first ever United States president to resign.
Why did it turn into a big scandal? Is that enough?
Yes.
If the Republicans ordered spying the Democrats, is that enough to get the president sacked?
It's filthy. I mean, that is they wouldn't resign today. You'd never get Trump resigning over something so trivial as that. But in those days, politicians had a bit of honour. If they were caught with their fingers in the pie, they stopped eating and left the room.
Yeah.
But these days, they just carry on scoffing and say nothing to see here.
Yeah.
So Woodward, in All the President's Men, first mentions Deep Throat on page 71. Earlier in the book, he reports calling an old friend and sometimes source who worked in the federal government and did not like to be called at his office. Later on, he described him as a source in the executive branch who had access to information, as well as at the White House. The book also called him an incurable gossip, and as being in a unique position to observe the executive branch, and as a man whose fight had been worn out in too many battles. So Deep Throat was clearly a disillusioned member of the cabinet.
Oh, well, you are going to reveal who he is. We know
Yes.
who he is, don't we? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes. Woodward claimed that he would signal to Deep Throat that he desired a meeting by moving a flower pot with a red flag on the balcony of his apartment.
Ooh.
See,
Pretty sophisticated
they're
stuff.
fucking these spy guys. They don't fuck around.
I know. Red flags.
No one would have spotted that. When Deep Throat wanted a meeting, he would make special marks on page 20 of Woodward's copy of the New York Times. Now that's a little bit more stupid, because you're going to stop the paper boy. You're going to stop the paper boy mid-chuck and say, hang on a second, open that to page 20 for me, would you, young man, while I scribble some nonsense on page 20.
Yeah.
He would circle the page number and draw clock hands to indicate the hour that they were to meet. Fucking rubbish. I mean, that's the worst spy shit I've read in a long time. They often met on the bottom level of an underground garage just over the Key Bridge in Roslyn at 2 a.m. Fuck it again. What's wrong with a restaurant in the middle of the afternoon? Why 2 a.m. when nobody else is around except people looking for suspicious activity?
Yeah.
No wonder these idiots got caught. The garage itself has a historical marker that was erected in 2011. In 2014, however, the garage was scheduled to be demolished, although the county decided to save the marker, and the landowner promised to design a memorial commemorating the Watergate scandal. As of now, the garage still has not been demolished. Many were very, like me, many were very sceptical of these cloak and dagger methods. A chap called Adrian Havel investigated these claims for his biography of Woodward and Bernstein and found them to be factually impossible, frankly. He said that Woodward's apartment at 1718 P Street, Northwest in Washington, faced an interior courtyard and wasn't actually visible from the street. So anyone regularly checking in the balcony, as Deep Throat was said to have done daily, would definitely have been spotted. Havel also said that copies of the New York Times weren't delivered to individual apartments, but were delivered in an unaddressed sack to the building's reception desk. So there was no way of knowing which copy would have been intended for Woodward. Woodward, however, himself stated that in the early 70s, the interior courtyard was in fact an alleyway and had not yet been bricked off, and his balcony was visible from street level to passing pedestrians. It was also visible, Woodward conjectured, to anyone from the FBI in surveillance of nearby embassies. Also revealed was the fact that Woodward's copy of the New York Times had his apartment number indicated on it. So, who knows? Former neighbour Herman Knippenberg stated that Woodward would sometimes come to his door looking for his marked copy of the Times, claiming, "I like to have mine in mint condition, and I like to have my very own copy."
There's an Englishman in New York, was there?
Yes. He was obviously Oxford educated.
I don't want to be pedantic, but I still don't get what was the information that Deep Throat was giving the reporter. What was the big scandal? All right, so because the burglars had already been caught.
Yes, but he was giving the information before the burglary. He was the source that started the whole investigation.
But hang on a second. I thought the scandal started with the arrest of these 5 guys.
No, the burglary was in 1972,
Yes.
but the investigation began in 71.
So were Bernstein and what's his face, were they investigating the infiltration of
Yes.
the Democratic headquarters?
Yes, they were basically investigating the spying that was going on between the two parties,
The Republicans and the
Republicans
Democrats. And that culminated. So this is what I was going to come back to. Were the Cozzers tipped off about these 5 guys in the doing this burglary?
Clearly, I mean, I haven't got to that bit, but I would imagine, because police don't do police work. They basically turn up after the fact.
Yeah, they might have done in 74 or 72, though.
They were too busy taking backhanders and getting free blowies from prostitutes in those days. Changed my mind. In public statements following the disclosure of his identity, Deep Throat, his family called him an American hero.
Oh, yes, good.
Stating that he leaked information about the Watergate scandal to the Washington Post for moral and patriotic reasons. Other commentators, however, have speculated that he may have had more personal reasons for leaking information. According to his book, The Secret Man, Woodward describes Deep Throat as a loyalist to and an admirer of J. Edgar Hoover. And after Hoover's death, he became angry and disgusted when L. Patrick Gray, a career naval officer and lawyer from the Civil Division of the Department of Justice, who had 0 law enforcement experience, was then appointed as the new director of the FBI over Deep Throat, who was a chap named Felt. We're going to tell you now.
Well, that's mildly interesting from a current perspective. So it's not unheard of for completely unqualified people to be appointed to very senior positions.
Yes, absolutely. You've seen it in Donald Trump's.
No, but that's exactly what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's not unheard of historically to do exactly what Trump is doing today.
No. Felt, who was himself a 30-year veteran of the FBI, he was particularly unhappy with Gray's management style, which was markedly different from Hoover's. But then anyone's management style would be markedly different from Hoover's because he was a fucking sociopath. Over the course of their acquaintance, Woodward would often call Felt for advice instead of seeking out prosecutors at the Justice Department or the House Judiciary Committee charged with investigating presidential wrongdoing. Felt was methodically solicited by Woodward to guide their investigation whilst keeping his own identity and involvement safely concealed. So Mark Felt, although his identity was unconfirmed for more than 30 years.
Oh, that is his name. Deep Throat's name was Mark Felt.
Mark Felt, yeah. There were suspicions that he was the reporter's mysterious source long before he was publicly acknowledged back in 2005. Max Holland reports that Felt leaked information to the Washington Post and Time magazine, and while the Post reporters didn't reveal their source, Time correspondent Sandy Smith told Time's lawyer, Roswell Gilpatrick, and Gilpatrick then passed that information to Henry E. Peterson, who was the assistant DA or the assistant attorney general in the criminal division of the Department of Justice. In turn, he revealed the information to White House consul John W. Dean, who finally repeated it to President Nixon. And Nixon didn't publicly acknowledge learning Deep Throat's identity, but he claimed that if he had done so, Felt would have publicly revealed information that would damage the FBI as well as other powerful people and institutions. There were tapes This is the Watergate tapes, quite famous, and they became known as the smoking gun tapes. And in one of the smoking gun tapes, Nixon's chief of staff stated that Felt knows everything there is to know in the FBI. And Haldeman implied that Nixon's motives for not outing Felt were not entirely altruistic, especially because Nixon himself would have been damaged by Felt's revelations. So that's the background to the Watergate scandal. But the story we're going to focus on today, the strange one, is what happened to Dorothy Hunt.
I can't even remember you mentioning Dorothy Hunt.
I didn't. I said we were going to talk about a strange thing regarding the Watergate scandal, but first we were going to do the background. So, on a cold day in 1972, United Airlines Flight 553 crashed in a Chicago neighborhood while trying to land at Midway Airport. As the wreckage smoldered, word began to spread that the flight had a somewhat famous passenger on board, Dorothy Hunt. And she was the wife of, you may remember, E. Howard Hunt, a key figure in the Watergate scandal. Howard, alongside G. Gordon Liddy. Why the fuck are these people just not called by their name? Hey, G. Gordon. Hey, E. Howard. The fuck is going on? Howard, alongside Gordon Liddy, had helped orchestrate the Watergate break-in. And as of December 1972, he and the other Watergate burglars had been indicted by a federal grand jury, and storm clouds were growing around the Nixon White House. As it came out later, Howard and Dorothy Hunt had expressed displeasure with the slow rate of hush money paid out from the White House, and Howard had warned one Nixon aide in a recorded conversation that this whole thing must not break apart for foolish reasons. Just weeks after that conversation, Dorothy Hunt was found dead. What's more...
Not as a result of the accident.
Yes. What's more, investigators found that she'd been carrying 10 grand in cash with her. So her death left many questions unanswered. Was she carrying Watergate hush money? Was she killed as a warning to her husband? Or was she about to blow the whistle on the whole scandal? Well, E. Howard and Dorothy Hunt met while they were both working for the CIA. Garrett Graff, who wrote Watergate: A New History, told USA Today that they crossed paths first in China, where Howard was an intelligence officer, spy, and Dorothy was agency staff, tea maker. I tell it like it is. You don't like it?
I don't know anything.
The Hunts got married, and by the 1970s were living in Washington, D.C. area. In 1971, he was hired by Nixon aide Charles Colson to work with the White House Special Investigations Unit, better known, and get this, this is pathetic, better known as the White House Plumbers, because of how they fixed leaks.
Original.
Fuck off. Fuck
No,
off.
it's a very nice.
But they didn't. But they weren't very effective, were they?
Clearly not.
Then, in June 1972, Howard and Gordon Liddy orchestrated the break-in of the DNC's headquarters at the Watergate Hotel in Washington. But the break-in didn't go as planned. What happened was this. A security guard discovered the burglars, and investigators were soon able to link the break-in to Howard Hunt, mostly because they had fucking notebooks on them with names and addresses and phone numbers. Dorothy Hunt was her husband's active partner in the legal challenges that followed. Howard Hunt was indicted for his role in the Watergate break-in 3 months later, and according to his 1974 memoir, Dorothy took aggressive action to obtain financial assistance for her husband and the other burglars to help cover their legal fees. A bit fucking cheeky, if you ask me.
Did they get any, I wonder?
I would imagine so, because they always do. It's surprising they were indicted in the first place. She'd been unable to reach Liddy. Confronted with this situation and not knowing where I was or what faced me, I went to the committee to re-elect the president, creep, headquarters, and demanded to see the general counsel. He added that Dorothy Hunt then spoke to a man called Mr. Rivers, who told her to obtain from the arrested men, Liddy and myself, an estimate of monthly living costs and attorney's fees. So they were going to claim expenses as well. Mr. Rivers provided money for the Watergate burglars' legal fees, but to Howard and Dorothy's chagrin, it was far less than what they had asked for. It shouldn't have been anything. As time went on, Howard and Dorothy increasingly pressured the White House for money, which came in erratic spurts, if it came at all. And in October 1972, Dorothy Hunt reached out to Colson. Though he allegedly refused to speak to her, the New York Times reported in June 73 that Mrs. Hunt was upset about an interruption in the payments from Nixon associates to the Watergate defendants. Then when Nixon actually won re-election in November 72, so there's your answer, Dorothy Hunt expressed worry to her husband that the payments would dry up entirely. She felt that with the election already won, the White House would be less inclined to live up to its assurances. Shortly after his re-election, Howard Hunt also called Colson to ask about financial payments from the White House, and his conversation went along the lines of this. The reason I called you was because of commitments.
He's not English. God's sake.
The reason I called you was...
He's not Cornish either.
The reason I called you was because of commitments that were made to all of us at the onset, which have not been kept. Howard Hunt said during their conversation, which Colson recorded, there's a great deal of unease and concern on the part of 7 defendants. There's a great deal of financial expense here that has not been covered.
So they're still going through the
greedy
legal
little
process.
Monkeys. Yeah, at this stage. Howard added, the stakes are very, very high, and this thing must not break apart for foolish reasons, as we said earlier. Dorothy Hunt allegedly went even further. In 2022, her son, Saint John Hunt, fuck off, who was 18 during the Watergate scandal, told ABC affiliate KEZI9 that his mother told the White House that they had evidence that would literally blow the White House out of the water. He added, and that was a direct threat, and she was a smart lady. She should have known there were going to be consequences if he threatened to blackmail the President of the United States.
Yep, get done for treason.
No, Dorothy Hunt
up.
died just weeks after she and her husband clashed with Colson over payments to the Watergate burglars.
So was this a little aircraft or a big aircraft she died in? Were there other passengers?
I would say it was a private aircraft because they wouldn't probably bring down a passenger jet. On December the 8th, 1972, it was a passenger jet. She boarded United Flight 553 from Washington, D.C. to Omaha, Nebraska. She was carrying at least 10 grand in cash, and just before her departure, she took out a flight insurance policy worth $2.5 million. So she had a little bit of a premonition.
Did she get paid out?
Well, she didn't because she was crispy.
No, but did it?
I would imagine it did. I would hope so. But then again, it's an insurance company, so they probably required her signature.
Maybe you have to survive a month before they actually...
yeah. You have to turn up at their offices in person with both your sets of grandparents.
Yeah.
Hours later, the plane crashed while trying to land for a layover at Chicago's Midway. 43 of the 61 people on board were killed, including Dorothy Hunt. And she wasn't the only person connected to US politics in that plane crash. CBS reporter Michelle Clark was also aboard the plane, as was Democratic Representative George Collins. According to the official report, the plane crash was due to pilot error. It always is, because no airline will ever claim responsibility. It crashed in a residential area, killing 2 people on the ground. The Chicago Fire Department swiftly responded to the scene, as did, to the surprise of some, dozens of FBI agents. As for the 10 grand, many believe that Dorothy Hunt was carrying White House hush money. Howard Hunt said she had only been carrying the money in order to invest in hotels, because that's how
That's
you
what
do.
you do. Cash. That's what you buy hotels with. Bit of cash.
I'm just, excuse me, can I invest in your hotel, mate? Yeah, here's a couple of grand. Put me name on the deed. There's a good lad. Fucking nonsense.
The FBI's presence at the crash scene.
Very quickly, dozens of them. The FBI aren't generally needed at a plane crash.
Unless
I would
it's suspected
suggest
of a terrorist or something.
Yeah. In the aftermath, Howard Hunt struck a deal with Colson that he would plead guilty and avoid a public and potentially politically embarrassing trial if Colson could get Nixon to agree to pardon him. So no consequence. With his wife gone, Howard didn't want to leave his children orphans by spending an extended time in prison. And Colson and Nixon, snakes that they are, agreed to the deal. But conspiracy theorists have other ideas of what went on between Dorothy Hunt, her husband, and the Nixon administration. Was she simply unlucky when she boarded United Flight 553? Because although the tragedy was chalked up to pilot error, a lot of people believe that Dorothy was murdered. Some people believe that she was killed because of the pressure she was exerting on the White House. Some people believe that she was about to blow the whistle on Watergate, possibly to the CBS reporter Michelle Clark, who happened to be on the same plane. That said, Nixon expressed what seemed to be genuine surprise when he heard about Dorothy Hunt's death. Colson broke the news during a recorded telephone conversation with the president, telling Nixon, "I just got a terribly tragic bit of news. That plane crash, Howard Hunt's wife was on it." "His wife is dead?" Nixon asked. "Yes, sir," Colson said. "She was killed in the plane crash in Chicago," to which Nixon replied, "Oh my God." Probably in that tone of voice. Oh my God. Did you get that on tape? Was that recorded?
How long did Nixon survive after impeachment?
Oh, he resigned in 1974.
So when did Nixon die? Oh no, what? Let's have a look. I'm wondering if he ever actually revealed any further secrets about what went on.
I'm not sure that would be a thing for the president to do, or the ex-president.
Oh no, he survived 20 years. 94 he died.
In the end, despite the White House's efforts to keep Watergate cover-up a secret, the scandal did come to light. He resigned from office in August of 74, and Hunt never actually received his pardon. He spent 33 months in prison, which isn't long enough.
33 months? Well, that's not long, is it? 2.5 years?
Decades later, history has mostly forgotten the pay mistress of the Watergate hush money payments. And yet questions continue to swirl around the plane crash that killed Dorothy Hunt. And Colson, for one, came to believe that her death was far more sinister than it seemed. "I think they killed Dorothy Hunt," he told Time magazine in 1974.
But if it wasn't he, who's that? Who are the they that he's referring to? He was on that side who would have benefited from her dying.
Most people would have benefited from her dying. The people involved in the burglary, because she was causing them problems by putting pressure on the White House. The White House, because she was putting pressure on them. I mean, she was basically piggy in the middle. But anyway, that brings us to the end of this fascinating episode regarding the Watergate scandal. And I hope all those names and dates and places have made things crystal clear for our listeners out there in wonderful podcast
I
land.
wonder if Trump has learnt a few lessons from the Nixon and the whole Watergate scandal that he knew. Because where did he start taking control? That was the Justice Department.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Trump, he probably can't see where the scandal comes into it. So he'd be reading the Watergate files and say, well, I'm not seeing anything wrong here.
No, you're right. You're right. Oh.
Very strange.
So that was, well, we were around. We probably weren't too much aware of American politics in those days because we were only 12, 13.
Yeah. Oh, hang on a second. Someone at my door.
What? It's the police.
Would you believe
That was a salesman.
I've actually got Mormons knocking on my door?
What, competing against the Jehovah's Witnesses?
Yeah. 2 young men in white shirts and smart pants.
Well, you should have said, do you have any female representatives?
They would have at least been sat on the sofa behind me until we finished, where I could then
Mormons
fuck their
in
minds
Sweden?
up properly. Yeah. Why not? As good a hunting ground as any. I think they were Mormons. They might have been Jehovah's, but they wanted to.
Of course they were Jehovah's Witnesses. Did they have little satchels?
But they were white. Jehovah's Witnesses in England always used to be black when they knocked on my door.
You mean as in coloured people?
Yeah.
Don't be ridiculous. They're always...
you know you're not allowed to say coloured.
No, but they're not... Yeah. No. Certainly on Solaren, they're all white people.
Are they? Oh,
yeah, well,
maybe
you
were
can tell who
Jehovah's
they
then.
are, though, because they do wear white shirts, but they all have black satchels around their... You know, one of those...
And a
like
copy of the
handbag.
Watchtower.
Is that,
Would you
is that
like
what
a
it's
free
called?
magazine?
Yeah.
Such nonsense. Anyway, yeah, that brings us to the end of this week's episode, unfortunately.
Yes, White House scandal, Nixon, Dorothy Hunt, poor woman. How
Dorothy
old was she?
Hunt.
Do you know? Remember how old she was?
Oh, God, blimey.
She was probably in her 30s or 40s. Though,
I would say
assume.
30s, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can probably find out. Da-da-da-da. Dorothy Hunt. I don't know, though. They're very sketchy on details. They got married in the 70s, so she may well have been the same age as us in 1970.
52. How can I be quicker than you? Born in 1920, died in 72.
Well, you just probably went straight to Wikipedia.
Bloody hell, it hit a house.
Yeah, 2 people died on the ground.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yes, the end of this week's episode. Hope everybody at home enjoyed it. Hope you learned something, and hope you got your own theories about what happened to poor old Dorothy. Who
Hang
didn't
on,
go
Andy.
down
This
the
fellow
yellow
looks a
brick
bit
road.
like you.
Fuck off.
Do you know who that is?
Gordon Liddy?
Gordon Liddy.
G.
Does
Gordon Liddy. He
He
looks
does.
nothing like me. Don't be stupid. What, just because he's shaved his head?
Just because he's got a shiny head and he's got a tash. If he
Do
had
we
a
all look-
goatee, you
Do
couldn't
we
tell
all
you
look the
apart.
same to you?
Yeah, all you goatees look the same to me. Oh dear. Well done. Good.
Yeah. So join us again next week when we will have some more strange stuff and another load of nonsense for you.
Yep.
In the meantime, have yourselves a
Probably.
strange week. Don't get into any plane crashes and don't go bugging any political offices because it will not
No.
work out well.
Yep. Good
See
thinking.
you same time next week. Bye for now.
Bye for now.